Close your eyes. Strip away the noise of the 21st century, the concrete, the glowing screens, the relentless hum of modern life. Cast your mind back 100,000 years. You are standing on a frozen steppe in Pleistocene Europe. A sub-zero wind howls, carrying the scent of snow and ancient earth. In the distance, massive woolly mammoths carve paths through the mist. In this unforgiving world, humans are not masters. They are fragile specks on the brink of being swallowed by the glacial wilderness. But look closer. Through the fog, inside a limestone cave, there is a flicker of orange. A fire. Gathered around it are not the Homo sapiens we see in the mirror. They are broader, immensely powerful, with deep-set, soulful eyes. They are Homo neanderthalensis, the Neanderthals. For a century, we've written ourselves as the ultimate victors of evolution, casting our ancient cousins as primitive, dim-witted brutes. But history is written by the survivors, and survivors often lie. Today, we tear down the myths. We are journeying into prehistory to discover that our long-lost neighbors were perhaps the most deeply human beings to ever walk the earth. The greatest injustice to the Neanderthals happened in 1856. Workers in Germany's Neander Valley found a thick skullcap and robust bones. This was the first extinct human species identified by science. But the mid-1800s were a time of rigid belief. Darwin hadn't yet published On the Origin of Species, and the world was thought to be only 6,000 years old. The appearance of an other human was a threat. To protect our ego, a campaign of Neander Slander began. Scientists depicted them as slouching oafs. One infamous drawing gave them ape-like toes and a gorilla-like posture, features that contradicted the actual fossils. This wasn't just bad science. It was a psychological shield. We needed to believe they were inferior, so we wouldn't have to face the terrifying truth that survival is fragile, and even an intelligent species can vanish. My analysis suggests this bias still haunts us today, framing evolution as a ladder we climbed alone, rather than a web we were woven into. The Earth is an honest historian. Remains of over 300 Neanderthals show they didn't just survive the Ice Age, they conquered it. Their anatomy was a masterclass in engineering. Shorter and stockier, their bodies were optimized to retain heat. They had massive eyes for low-light northern winters, and brains slightly larger than ours. For decades, we assumed they used brute force hunting. But microscopic analysis of rabbit and bird bones proves they had the dexterity for trapping small game, implying sophisticated snares and projectiles. They were also the world's first industrial chemists, manufacturing birch bark pitch, a synthetic adhesive, by heating bark at precise temperatures in oxygen-free environments. This wasn't an accident. It was a deep understanding of material science. They were the pioneer engineers of the prehistoric world, operating with a foresight we often deny them. For decades, we clung to the belief that Homo sapiens held a monopoly on the human soul, that we alone possessed the cognitive spark required for art, spirituality, and abstract thought. We viewed Neanderthals as purely utilitarian, living lives dictated only by the immediate needs of the stomach and the skin. But the silent darkness of the Earth's deepest caves tells a far more profound story. Take, for instance, the Bruniquel Cave in France. Over 300 meters inside the Earth, well beyond the reach of any natural light, researchers discovered something that defies every stereotype of the primitive Neanderthal. Approximately 176,000 years ago, long before our own species even dreamed of entering Europe, Neanderthals broke and meticulously arranged hundreds of stalagmites into two mysterious circular structures. These were not shelters. They were architectural feats created in a pitch-black abyss, illuminated only by the rhythmic flickering of torches. What were they doing in the belly of the earth? Whether these rings were for ancient rituals, communal gatherings, or a form of spiritual expression we can no longer name, they proved that Neanderthals were engaging with the transcendent. They were looking for meaning in the dark. And their search for meaning extended into the world of beauty. They weren't just survivors, they were decorators. Archaeological evidence shows they selectively harvested the flight feathers of raptors, not for their meager meat, but for the dark elegance of their plumes, likely used as personal adornment. They transformed seashells into jewelry by painting and perforating them, and they engraved rhythmic, intentional patterns into the bones of giant elk. In Spain, the discovery of cave paintings dating back 65,000 years provides the final, undeniable proof. These red ochre stencils and geometric shapes were created long before Homo sapiens arrived in the region, making Neanderthals the world's first true artists. This suggests that the human soul, the drive to see beyond the physical and create something beautiful, is not our unique invention. It is a shared inheritance, a legacy of a much older and deeper human experience. They didn't just fight to survive the cold. They sought to decorate the world they lived in, proving that the spark of creativity was burning brightly in our cousins, long before we ever took our first brush to a cave wall. The truest benchmark of civilization is how it treats its weakest. In the wild, a severe injury is a death sentence. But Neanderthal bones tell stories of incredible mercy. In Iraq's Shanidar cave, researchers found Shanidar 1. He was blind in one eye, had a withered, amputated arm, and walked with a severe limp. In the ruthless Ice Age, he was a liability. Yet, his bones show he lived for decades after these injuries. He survived because his community chose to keep him alive. They shared their food, carried him through snow, and protected him from predators. He didn't survive through strength. He survived through their love. In France, an elderly man was found riddled with arthritis and toothless. To survive, his family must have ground up or pre-chewed his food. They even used medicinal plants like poplar bark, containing the precursor to aspirin, to treat his pain. When he died, they buried him with care. These acts of mercy are the most human things in the archaeological record. Why aren't they here? For decades, we searched for a smoking gun, a prehistoric apocalypse, or a brutal genocide committed by our ancestors. But in 2010, the secrets of the deep past were finally laid bare when the Neanderthal genome was sequenced for the first time. The results were a revelation. When Homo sapiens and Neanderthals met, they didn't just clash in a struggle for territory. They mingled. They shared fires, they shared lives, and they shared their DNA. This discovery fundamentally shatters the old metaphor of the evolutionary tree, with its rigid, snapping branches. Instead, human evolution is more like a braided stream. Imagine a river that splits into separate channels, each group adapting to its own unique environment, the Neanderthals to the frozen European tundra, and Homo sapiens to the African savanna, only to flow back together at various junctures in time. The Neanderthals were not eradicated or defeated by us. They were gradually absorbed into the rising tide of the human population. Today, their legacy is written in our very biological blueprint. Up to 4% of the DNA in modern humans of non-African descent is a direct inheritance from these Ice Age kings. This isn't just junk DNA. It is a living, functional toolkit. These genes continue to influence our immune systems, helping us recognize and fight off pathogens, and they play a role in how our skin heals and reacts to sunlight. They provided us with the genetic armor needed to survive the harsh northern climates they had mastered long before we arrived. By recognizing this, we realized that the line between us and them is a total illusion. We are not their replacements. We are their continuation. They didn't vanish into the shadows of history. They simply found a new way to live through us, ensuring that even in a world of concrete and glass, the strength of the Ice Age still beats in our hearts. The story of the Neanderthals is the ultimate antidote to human arrogance. For centuries, we used them as a mirror to reflect our own perfection, mocking them as a failed experiment. But the truth is a reflection of our shared humanity. Their existence proves that Homo sapiens do not have a monopoly on intelligence, art, or the capacity to love. We did not inherit the earth because we were ruthless conquerors. We are here today because we are a mosaic, a biological and cultural synthesis of lineages that learned to survive together. Compassion, the choice to care for the weak, is not a modern invention. It is an ancient anchor that kept us tethered to life through the darkest epochs of history. As you look forward into an uncertain future, remember that you are not standing alone at the peak of a pyramid. You are the continuation of a braided stream. Your greatness doesn't come from who you conquered, but from the legacies you carry within you. To be human is to be part of a vast, ancient family that refused to let the cold win. Let that be our guide as we face our own challenges. Survival is not about being the best. It's about how much of our humanity we are willing to share with one another. Ultimately, when we look at the Neanderthal, we aren't looking at a stranger. We are looking into a mirror of our own resilience. Their story reminds us that humanity is a torch passed through the freezing winds of time, fueled by every species that dared to care for another. In our modern world, the 4% of Neanderthal DNA in our veins is a biological testament to unity. It proves that thousands of years ago, we chose connection over conflict. We are the living evidence that even in the harshest winters, the warmth of a shared heart was enough to keep the flame of life burning. As we move forward, may we carry that same spirit, recognizing that our strength has always been our ability to find ourselves in the other.